I guess we need an intro.
Okay, welcome back to the Exopreneur 360 podcast. We are live again. As always, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. And do me a favor and please share this episode with anybody you feel might get value out of it. Please like and subscribe wherever you're catching the Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and give us a share, please. So we're back. Jeez, I'm excited about this episode because it's kind of a closing the loop, but also starting a new loop. I'm joined by, for those, it's actually been the most viewed episode on YouTube anyway, this episode.
Really?
The original 75 hard episode I did with this man. His name is Wolfie. Welcome back, my brother.
Hi, Steve. Yeah, thanks for having me back again on the show.
Awesome to have you, bro.
Yeah.
So just by way of context, as usual, I think we digging right into, it's been about 3 months, sorry, just about 3 months since we did the first episode. It'll be 75 days plus a little bit because
Yes.
we sitting down with Wolfie today because Wolfie fucking did it, bro.
Did it. I can't believe it sometimes when I think about it. Bro.
Yeah. Yeah, Wolfie's one of the original guys who I spoke to about doing 75 hard in the community with me. And I spoke to a lot of people, probably have about 25 people or so now in the WhatsApp group.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 5 or 6 of them are fully committed. Like we know the Ryan and the Andrew and those O's, but you were one of the original O's who were like, I could see the minute I spoke to you at soccer about it, you were like, yeah, bro, that's interesting. I think you're crazy, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So let me get involved, and you fucking.
You're on the other side now, bro.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
How did so tune us, bro? Like you did 75 hard. When did you finish? How was it, etc.?
Yeah. So started around the 14th of August. Steve, I think just maybe a week or two after we did that first episode where you were kind of explaining the whole process and just each challenge that we had to complete. And it just so happened though that I don't know if we mentioned it, but it just so happened that the 75 days would finish the day before my birthday.
Yeah. I remember you saying, bro.
Yeah. So that was also another motivator because I knew that, okay, if I skipped a day or if I didn't complete it, I'd kind of fall short of my goal to, finish on my birthday. So I think that also helped a lot. But yeah, dude, we started around the 14th of August and then all the way till I thought initially it was 28 October, but it actually was 27 October because I didn't count the first day.
Gotcha.
So I had like a day to relax a little bit. But yeah, dude, it was super, super cool challenge. Obviously, some days were a lot better than others. Yeah. But yeah, I'm feeling very proud that I got over the line, on the 75.
Amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, Wolf. So, bro, yeah, you and I have had a couple of chats since you did the 75 hard.
Yeah.
Your immediate reaction after 75 was kind of like you were relieved, obviously. And one of the big things I think that was big for you was your 10-year reunion for school that you couldn't drink at.
Dude,
bro, that's a huge deal, and well done for that, bro. Well done for keeping to that.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, Devo. But yeah, it was one of those things that I earmarked during the 75 that I'd have to get over.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a 10-year reunion. I haven't seen so many of my friends in so long. And I'm not sure with most reunions, it's a huge party. Like everyone goes there, you have a few drinks, chat about all the lost time. So I knew that on my calendar, I was like, yeah, that weekend is going to be the pivotal weekend.
Yeah.
Because it was 2 weeks before I finished as well. But yeah, I think I just mentally prepared that entire time that, okay, you're going to go to this reunion. I just need to be prepared. Have my exercises ready, know where I'm going to drink my waters, know that there's not going to be alcohol involved. And funny enough, I had a fantastic weekend there. I was the most sober guy there, but I think I had the most fun out of everyone, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's quite funny you mentioned that because I'm actually finding something quite similar. Obviously I'm making no secret about on the podcast that I party at the outdoor festivals and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I'm not a big drinker to begin with. And actually a lot of that, well, I'm not a drinker at all, I would say. I can go weeks without drinking. I don't touch this stuff.
Yes.
But I often find that when I go to the parties, the first night of the parties always the best night I have because I arrive there, you haven't seen your mates in a while, you're connecting with everyone. You don't drink, you're not getting on, you're not getting stoned or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's always the best job, but you actually find out that being sober sometimes is actually a lot more fun than
100%. 100%. I'm also, I'm not a massive drinker or into things like that, but obviously there's special occasions. So something like a 10-year reunion, you're gonna go have at least have a cup of champagne or something,
Yeah,
or a
yeah,
glass
you
of
want to touch
champagne.
it. And you didn't touch it. No alcohol
Didn't
touched your
touch
lips.
anything.
Brew, well
I'm actually
done.
so proud of myself, to be honest with you. And like there were so many moments where I would be with a group of friends and they'll be like, "Hey, yeah, no, just have a drink." Yeah. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Bro, just have a drink. Like you with all your friends. When are you gonna be here again?" But
And what was their reaction, by the way, when you said to them, "Hey guys, I'm just not drinking"?
they were just like, "What? Why?" Like a lot of people wanted to know why, and I wasn't hiding it. I was like, "No, I'm busy doing Hot 75," and then I kind of explained it. And a lot of people were like, "No, that's pretty cool. I want to try something like that." I've had so many friends afterwards like reach out and be like, "Okay, please tell me more about this Hot
Dude.
75," which is quite like nice. And then you obviously get those friends that are like, it will never understand. They're like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
but no, all in all, to be fair, not as many people cared that much
yeah,
that I thought they would, if that makes sense.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm just glad that I got through that whole weekend, and I still had such a great time. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it is it's and that is, I think you're going to find that more and more, and as you said, is like I always say about 75 hard is, how do you
yeah,
know someone's done 75 hard, or how do you know that someone does cold plunging? They'll fucking tell you
they'll
about
tell
it,
you,
bro. They'll
yeah.
tune you straight.
Oh, because you climb mountains, yeah. You
Yeah,
want to share it. You
and
want
you're
to be like,
proud,
you're
bro.
proud,
And you should be
exactly.
proud. And I think that that's the thing, is like, now that you've got that badge and you've done it,
Yeah,
you're going to go off and tell people about it, and you're going to start recruiting. You're not going to pressure, I'm sure you're not that kind of guy. You're never going to pressurize people, and you can't pressurize people to do 75
no,
days. But you're definitely going to start getting people going, geez, man, well done, bro.
yeah.
That sounds hectic.
Well,
And
just for the challenge, yeah. Just see how you can test yourself. That
yeah,
was for me one of the biggest reasons I wanted to do it. It was not necessarily like a physical challenge or anything in particular that I wanted to abstain from doing, but I just wanted to see can I actually go a full 75 days and do what I say I'm going to do. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It was a big challenge on myself, and I think that's what got me through it as well. Those bad days where I didn't want to do whatever. I was like, dude, like you've gone this far. Are you just gonna because you want to chill or
pack it in and give up. Yeah,
100%, and that's I think where the biggest learning was. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I
the,
mean, there was a lot of physical benefit, like going to the gym and all of that, but I think the biggest benefit for me was just that mental. You get over that mental edge of, there were days where I just didn't want to go to the gym at all. Like I was having such a great time just relaxing or doing whatever I was doing. Then I go to the gym, and after like a set or two sets, I'm so happy to be there. You know what I mean? And I just realized
the,
like I would never have gone to the gym under normal circumstances, but now I'm here, and I'm like it just builds on itself. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that experience, I think, is that what you've just described about the physical stuff was great and the eating right was good and all that, but the
Yes.
mental edge that you kind of said got
100%.
over. I think that's why Andy, that for me is where Andy talks about the mental toughness and the
Yes.
cutting yourself a break.
Yeah.
Particularly, these are the things that I remember vividly about the first time I did 75 years and years ago.
Yeah.
Was I remember very vividly, one of the learnings or one of the things that they wanted you to learn was,
Yeah.
we are used to, as westernized human beings, cutting ourselves breaks and saying, oh, bro,
I'll
I'm
do it
just,
later.
yeah, I'll do it later, or
Yeah.
I was meant to go for a run this morning, but I really want to finish that movie, so I'm just going to lie on
Yes.
Saturday morning. You cut yourself those breaks, and when you've got a half a liter of water left
Yeah.
and you're sitting there going, dude, it's my choice here. I can cut
Exactly.
myself this break, and then you don't cut yourself a break, and you go to the next day, and then you
Yes.
don't cut yourself a break, and slowly not cutting yourself a break becomes your personality,
It
and that
becomes
for me is the
your,
mental toughness part of the challenge.
it adds up. Honestly, those marginal gains, like that's one thing I realized as well. Over time, it adds up.
Yeah,
Small by small. It's the
yeah,
small little
yeah,
actions
yeah,
over
yeah.
time. And then it makes you realize because obviously you focus on those 5 tasks, but then it makes you look at your life like as a whole and realize, okay, where am I like cutting myself off a bit
Yeah,
in just normal life?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you realize, okay, no, I was giving myself breaks here and there, or maybe I could be doing things a little bit better. So when I say mental, I'm incorporating all of those things. Like it just makes you kind of reflect on just your actions and what you've been
yeah,
doing. And then I'm like, yeah. So I think that for me was the biggest lesson,
yeah,
and I'm keen to try that again and
yeah,
move it to different areas of my life. Like,
yeah.
okay, where could I improve? Or,
And
yeah,
that's, I mean, this is one of the things also, like having done 75 in the Live Hard year with a variety of different people from all over the world,
yes,
Australia, Canada, the US.
yeah,
One of the things that you've just described as well, which is so, it's so lacquer to hear this come out
yeah.
reiterated from someone else, because
Oh, really?
these are things that I've heard, and one of the things like you've said is like in other parts of your life, particularly what I've heard from people is in my relationships, I
Okay.
found I'm showing up better for my wife.
Yeah,
I'm showing up better for my kids.
yeah,
I saw that with a few people. I won't mention their names, but a few people who started the 75 journey with us,
mm-hmm.
that didn't complete it.
Yeah,
But I noticed 1000%
yes,
an improvement in their day-to-day life.
Okay. From
In
outside.
from outside, I
Yeah.
could see
Wow.
them showing up better for their wife, for their kids.
Yeah.
I could see them um, having a bit more pep in their step in the morning, just like getting to stuff a little bit better.
Y-
So that showing that difference you start to see in other aspects of your life is so fundamental there.
Definitely, definitely. I think, and in areas where you wouldn't also like have initially thought things would have changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you start to just pick up on stuff that in your day to day normal life before 75, it would just be normal, and then now because you know kind of living intentionally on this 75 challenge, you're like, okay, wow, why do I do it like that? Like, why can't maybe I can tweak a little
Yeah.
here, tweak a
Yeah.
little there. So I found it very beneficial. And I think even if I'm not doing like a hard 75 or a live hard, there's definitely those aspects that I want to like try and keep
Yeah.
just in my day to day life as a habit. Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And so I mean, and we'll talk about that's obviously why we're sitting down today is to talk about what's the next step.
y-
But I
yeah,
want to just ask you one quick question that I love to ask because I was quite taken aback years and years ago
yeah,
when I asked this question, the responses I got. But out of interest, when you told the people, whether it's your family, friends, strangers,
yeah,
that you're doing 75 hard, and you told them the 5 things you had to do every day,
yes.
what was the one item on the list that made their jaw drop the most? Or what was the most common, like, what, bro, are you
Yeah.
mad?
Probably two of them. The first one was the exercise.
Yeah.
And everyone always asks again, like for me to explain it again. Then I'll be like, okay, you have to do 5 things. And then I'll be like, okay, 2 exercises daily of each 45 minutes. And they'll be like, what, two?
Yeah.
Two different exercises? And they all like want to
Yeah.
like elaborate on that. And then I also think back when I'm explaining this to people, I'm like, dude, like 2 exercises.
Yeah.
Am I sure I did 2 exercises a day?
Yeah.
I look back, I was like, damn, that's actually quite hectic.
Yeah.
And then also the water,
Yeah.
the drinking of the water. And then people always trying to be like, okay, can you, just like how I was
You know,
asking you before,
I
remember?
re-listened to our last
Is
episode, by the way, in
it? Yeah.
preparation for this. So, yeah.
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 Well, I wasn't a massive water drinker. People who know me know I enjoy a cup of tea or I
Yeah.
enjoy those kind of things. But like, people always asking 4 liters. Are you sure? Is that healthy?
Yeah.
What if your body weight or like the same stuff you always hear? It's like just excuses come up for
Yeah.
reasons why you shouldn't be drinking 4 liters. And yeah, it became second nature during the 75. But yeah, those are the two
Yeah.
things most people are like, what
Yeah.
the hell? Why are you doing that?
Interesting. Eh? Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, it is on the face of it, it is probably the most, it's unsurprising that that's the two that drop. For me, that's why I asked the question is years ago. I asked in the Facebook, there's an official Facebook group, and
Yeah.
I asked in the Facebook group the same question. And without a doubt, the response that people came back with
Yeah.
wasn't one of those 5.
Okay.
This is what's quite interesting talking about alcohol as well. Um, the response that people kind of came back with when I asked, "Hey, 5 things,"
Yes.
which is the toughest that people get respond on. Um, someone added to the 5 no alcohol
Okay.
because it's implied and you've got to
In the
keep a
diet.
diet.
Yes.
And I didn't even think about that. As I said, I'm not a big drinker, so I was like, okay. Someone wrote there no alcohol, and by far, that one
Yeah.
won the quiz, the poll by far. And
Yeah.
which was interesting to me. I was like, geez, as a non-drinker, it's interesting that, but it hit home to me just how dependent on alcohol
Yeah.
we
Our
are as a
culture.
society.
100%. I saw that during COVID. Do you remember during COVID
Yo, it's a good
the
point.
bans? Yeah.
That's a
Then you
great
realize like
point.
damn, like people were up in arms when like the bottle stores were closing and things like that. And I remember there was a story of people drinking, like coming up with their own alcohol, making their own alcohol at home and stuff like that.
Oh, is that? I didn't hear
You
about
didn't
that.
hear
No, I'm not
there's a
surprised.
story of people.
There's those who do that not in COVID.
Yeah, people do that not in COVID as well,
Yeah.
as a hobby.
Yeah.
So yeah, true. That is true. But I think maybe when I just explain it like superficially to people, I don't actually mention. I just say stick to a diet.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't think that that's like included. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the interesting thing was there was feedback from people saying, no, there are some diets that allow you to have a glass of
Yeah.
wine
A night.
a night or something.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
all right. I mean, for me, that's not in the spirit of 75. So I'm like,
Yes.
okay.
The biggest thing that you told me actually before we started, you're like, if you have any doubts in whatever it is that you want to do, just ask yourself, like, am I giving myself a break? And I
Yeah.
think that's the best, like, general rule of
Yeah.
all of that. Because
Yeah.
there will be times in the 75 where there's things that are questionable and you're like, okay, should I be doing that? And I think you'll know deep down, like, okay, I'm taking a break here
Yeah.
and I shouldn't
Yeah.
be doing that.
I could be pushing harder,
I could be pushing hard.
being a bit of a
I'm letting
bitch.
myself off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the overall, like, arching principle that I gave myself during the thing. And I don't think I never had that dilemma many times. I don't, or at all, to be honest, because I just knew, you know what you're doing this for. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So I think, so we touched on, and that's why we're sitting here actually. So just by way of context for anybody who's listening to this is I caught Wolf at a few soccer games post. He's finished about 2-3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And I could see he was itchy, and he said to me, "Hey man, I don't know what to do now." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Bro, it's obvious what you do now. The next step is phase one. We call it phase one. It's the next part of the live hard year." So before we get into that, and before we ask and we go through that, I want to just clarify why I am not where Wolfie is because I also ran into some problems about 28 days in.
Oh, yeah.
I pulled a little muscle, carried on a little bit longer, and then eventually the physio was like, "Bro, you got to stop." So this is the beauty. Yeah, this is the beauty of 75 is everyone's journey is different and everyone's journey is unique. And in the group, for example, we've got this WhatsApp group with people from all over the world. Everyone's at a different stage. When we started the group, there was a girl who joined us, Emily, who was at the very last. She was in the final stage of Live Hard. So she did her last 2 weeks or whatever as we were all kicking off.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite poetic if you think about it. We had this girl who's finishing and we're all kicking off. And she also went through this, hey, what's next? What am I going to do? And I'm not going to give up. She did a physical therapist course or like some sort of training course or something. So, but I said to Wolf, I was like, bro, and you could tell, and I think I said this in the original episode we did together, that you're a pretty philosophical and deep guy. And I can see that like you've taken on the mental toughness part quite seriously in this. So you asked, like, what's the next stage?
Yeah.
And I said to you, bro, the next stage, Andy's covered this already. He's like prepared for people who have this question.
Yeah.
It's called phase one.
Okay.
So you said, hey, cool, tell me about it. What do we do? And I said, let's do another podcast episode because I think it's worth it. Like, people want to know about this. I've got my business coach right now, by the way, who I spoke to last week. He's like, I also said to him, bro, you got to do 75. And he was like, all right, can you explain to me? I was like, I don't need to explain to you. I'm going to send you an episode I did with this guy named Wolfie. So that was the whole purpose of doing the episode is I don't now need to enact any labor. He hasn't asked all the questions.
Cheers.
And fucking go and listen. So phase one, bro, live hard. So the whole thing, the way Andy set up the challenge is, the program is you've got 75 hard is the initial phase, but you've got the live hard year, which is a full 365 days of program.
Yeah.
So you're at that stage now where you're asking, hey, what's next? And the next obvious stage would be phase one. And it's set up in such a beautiful way that it's like transitions you into the next stage of mental toughness and like introduce you to a bunch of new things. Do you know anything about phase one?
Bits and bobs, I think you mentioned it a few times to me. I just know that Hard 75 is obviously still very much part of it, like those activities. And I just know that there's things that are added on or taken out. Not fully like aware of what it entails, but
got you. So it's actually and as I said, it's quite, he did this with pretty good intentions to like take people to the next level and make them understand what's next of it. Phase one is it's 75 hard. You've got to do all the things that you do in 75 hard, all those 5 things, and keep to the same things, which is actually kind of second nature by now. And having taken a break now, you should be ready to kind of go back into it. But you've got to add on 3 things. Those 3 things are very, very simple, but very, very tough. The 3 things are, and I know this is the one thing that like most people crash out on, is you've got to take a 5-minute cold shower every day.
That's the one I think I'd be the most scared of. You see me, I've got like -% body fat.
I know, you're a skinny you're a skinny bitch, bro.
So what's the cold going to do to me?
Yeah, it's not, to be honest with you. So I was that guy who, and for those who follow my journey over the last 6 to 12 months or 9 months or so, you'll know that I did the cold plunging in 2-degree water outside in winter in the swimming pool. I was that guy literally up until November last year. I really put my mind to it. Oh, sorry, actually before that, but I was that guy who in the middle of summer would stand on the edge of a swimming pool and like, I had to walk, and this is the middle of summer, bro. Like I was that guy. Like the family used to make fun of me. And the only thing that got me over it was when I decided to do the Live Hard year in 2023. I was in LA still, and I said, hey, I've done 75 now, and it's really been good for me. And I was in a tough mental place. I was in a tough geographic place. And in a workplace, I was in a bad place as well. So I said, I'm going to do 75. I did 75. And then it dawned to me, I was like, hey, bro, what is next? And I thought, hey, don't be a bitch. Let's look at phase one. I didn't say, let me do the Live Hard year. I said, let me do phase one. And I looked at the culture. I was like, not a fuck am I doing that? And I I had to take it day by day.
Okay.
We didn't have a swimming pool there. I could have, there was an ocean obviously, but you had to drive to the ocean. But
Yeah.
you got to do a 5-minute cold
Five
shower, and he
minutes,
wants
eh?
you to do a shower. And
Okay.
there's also a reason for that. Once you start doing showers, you realize that it's way worse
I was
than
gonna
a
say,
cold
like, isn't a
plunge.
shower a lot worse than actually just jumping into water? 'Cause,
I think it is. I definitely
yeah,
because the
a
water's
thousand
kind of
needles.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. The water's hitting you all over, and you're like feeling it at every point,
Dude,
and you're
yeah.
doing that for 5 minutes, bro.
Did you play like a song? Did you play like your favorite song for 5 minutes?
It didn't even dawn on me that I only
Yeah.
learned recently when I was working with Ronen, when I interviewed Ronen on the podcast, and
Okay.
he explained to me the actual neurological benefits of listening to music while you're doing a
Oh,
cold plunge.
really?
There's actually
Okay.
so I didn't even think about that. I literally had to work myself up to do the first one, and I was in the cold shower. The hardest part is you don't realize how long 5 minutes actually is.
Dude, 5 minutes sounds crazy from here. I've not tried, but five
Yeah,
minutes sounds
five
long.
5 minutes is tough, bro.
Yeah.
It's not a
But I'm sure
comfortable.
you get used to it. Like, I've had times where I stay, I've got like a heat pump.
Yes.
So if I didn't switch on the heat pump in time, I'd be forced to have a cold shower, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there were times that that's happened in winter. But the first like minute is terrible, but then you kind of warm up to it.
Yeah.
No pun intended, but
Yeah.
like,
Which is going to happen in this as well. So that's what I learned is as I did the first one I did,
yeah.
yo, bro, I got out. I was super proud of myself, but I
Yeah.
was physically exhausted.
Yeah.
I literally climbed out of the water. My partner was in the apartment, and she kind of saw me come out of the thing with a towel on, and I walked over. I was buggered. I walked over to the bed, and I literally fell into the bed and passed out for an hour.
What?
Physically, I'd worked myself. Like, not only
Yeah.
did I work myself up, but my body was physically exhausted.
Yes.
Day two, you don't want to do it, bro. You
Yeah.
really
You
like,
think, oh my
but
gosh, I got 70 days left.
yeah. Well, you only have to do this for 30 days. So
Okay,
phase one is only 30 days.
Okay.
So it's
So
the 75 hard tasks, but for 30 days.
Okay.
30 days of cold shower.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly what happens is after like 5 days, once you're in 5 days, bro, you're starting to get much more into it.
Yes.
You're starting to work out your own technique.
Okay.
So for me, for example, I'm bald, quite bald. So what I started to discover was the cold water hitting my head for 5 minutes gave me such an ice cream headache. So I eventually was like, let me sit down on the ground, which I used to do like kind of fetal position or like sitting on my ass. And I put my hands on top of my head to stop that cold headache. Like because I had to do that.
Yeah.
It helped immensely,
Yeah.
And then slowly after like 10 days to 15 days, it never gets easier, it never gets better.
Okay.
But you are way more proud of yourself, and you way more like the mental toughness is
build
really
up momentum.
Like, yeah, bro, totally.
And I think when you like 10, 15 days in now, you can't stop now.
Yeah.
You're like
Well, it's exactly what you said about 75. You're
Yes.
like, you're saying to yourself, dude, I'm on day 63.
Yeah.
Are you really going to
How am I
pack
gonna
it
stop?
in?
Exactly.
So you've got to kind of push through. And then what it did for me was it allowed me, I did the 30 days and I was like, yo, this is horrible.
Yeah.
But then as I got to that was then like, it was like March. I was kind of doing that like, March, April. I started to go to the ocean in LA, in Santa Monica, Venice Beach.
Yes.
Water there's not warm either. So
Yeah.
it's not like Durban water.
When is it like March?
Yeah, March. Well, this was like April, May.
Oh,
So
okay.
through the summer of America, I was like swimming and I was surfing or whatever. But I surf there all year with wetsuits.
Oh, yes.
I made a point of not using a wetsuit. I was like, I started to get more. I like forced myself to be more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I was like amazed at how your body listens.
Yeah, it's all mental, Steven.
Yeah.
I think maybe because you psych yourself up so much. There's so many like situations in my life where I think back and I'm like, the thoughts of doing something was way worse than me doing it. Like, I remember getting in trouble like high school, for example, and you need to go own up or whatever. And, you waiting for your trouble to come. And that waiting period was way worse than the actual punishment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try to think of it like that maybe.
Yeah,
It's
an interesting, if that's what you need to tell yourself to get yourself through that, that's what you do. And that's what, so by the time the end of that year, like as I got to like October, November, which is like autumn, starting to get into winter in LA, there was a 2 particular week I made a decision that I was going to come back to South Africa and I was going to leave America and, leave my job and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I was very deliberately every weekend now going down to the ocean, which was about a 20-minute drive from where we live.
Okay.
I would go down to the ocean, early bells, go for a run. Like that's when I was starting to get into running as well.
Yes.
Go to the ocean, early bells, 5, 6 a.m., run, and then
Take a dive.
Bro, I had to go drop my stuff off at the car and then take the walk down to the ocean. 3-minute walk from where you park the car.
Yeah.
Every single step, knowing what's ahead of you. That like this is cold Atlantic.
And
Pacific.
No one
water.
there. Is it like?
It was pretty. No, there's always homeless people. You were the homeless people, but they're showering. It's dark. It's like it's early bells there, and every step you know what you're walking towards, and you know that this is going to suck.
Sure.
But that what I'd gone through in the 30 days of cold showers had allowed me to get to that point where I was like,
I'm going
in, bro.
Yeah.
And eventually, as I got into like November, we were coming back. My ex-partner and I were coming back to South Africa in December. But the last one I'll never forget. In the end of November, I went for a swim, and I remember looking out into the ocean, thinking, "Dude, you should be fucking proud of yourself, bro. You've done excellent here. Well done."
Never been doing this.
Never.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey and that's how I got into this year, cold plunging in the middle of winter at 2-degree water, because it wasn't, I just started cold plunging in 2-degree water.
Yeah.
It was a year and a half of build up to be able to stand in front of that water and go, dude, you don't be a pussy.
You can do this.
Man up and go.
In your head.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you feel great when you get out of that water, like having conquered that 5 minutes.
So without a doubt, and this is when I started to understand cold plunging as well, the biggest, I can't remember where I heard it. It can't possibly be my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
It's way too smart to be my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just claim it.
It's way too smart to be my opinion. But my reason why I like cold plunging so much is because when you do it early in the morning, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., you get in the water, you get out.
Yeah.
Nothing else you face in that day is going to be as tough as what you just did.
No, that's
so you
get
powerful. It is, and it allows you to go into a tough conversation with an employee. Allows you to go
into ice water. There's nothing you can tell me that's going to be worse than that.
Brew.
Yeah.
So that's where, for me, the benefit of the cold water has been.
Yeah. I see.
Of course, there's neurological stuff and there's psychological stuff and all that, but for me, it's been about just tackling my problems head on, going, you're not a problem, bro.
Yeah.
No, it's a problem. What I did this morning.
I see. And did you always make a point to do it in the morning, first thing in the morning?
Yeah. Because, there were some days where I land up doing it in the afternoon or in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, obviously, as I was going through winter this year and I was starting to really get into the running and all that, I was on a high getting up at 5 a.m. to go run. So it was no problem. And also there's something beautiful about, there was a nice couple of 2-week, 3-week period where every morning I was in that water as the sun was coming up. There's something beautiful about that. There's something awesome about jumping in the water when it's still dark.
Okay.
Kind of getting out when the sun's, I don't know, it's like
sunrise.
And like where I'm living now, there's beautiful bird life, and I would watch the parrots fly over, and
you pay attention. You start paying attention to your surroundings.
Well, you're in for 5 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
So you start giving yourself things to distract yourself from the pain, because it's not pleasant. It's still sore, and you may have had a tough run. Like you might have gone on a 15K run, and your feet are sore, your toes are sore.
Yeah.
So you giving yourself, there's good recovery in it. Apparently, I don't know anything about that. I'm not educated enough in that, but been told there's good recovery. But you start giving yourself things to consider.
To take the time. I see, and I'm sure you get to think a bit more, and I think you're just more in tune. I would assume. I have no idea. But no, I think you explaining it now, I'd love to give it a shot.
Well, hopefully that's what I've done here is I've built up a bit of anticipation for you where you can go, actually, Steve-O, maybe this is not a bad idea, because this is, without a doubt, like I asked you about 75, what's the toughest thing people reported back to you? Without a doubt, in phase 1, the toughest, I don't think anyone will disagree, the toughest thing is the 5-minute cold shower.
Cold shower. So
you get over that, you fucking laughing.
Okay. And what else is there?
So there's a 5-minute cold shower. You've got to do what they call 3 extra critical tasks. Andy's actually got a thing called the power list, which is another part of like his mental toughness program thing that he's done. It's a good episode. If I can remember, I'll put the episode into the notes below. But he's got a thing called the power list, and essentially it works around critical tasks you've got to give yourself every day. In phase 1, what you're doing is you're giving yourself 3 extra power list critical tasks.
Okay.
Critical tasks are 3 things you need to take care of every day. And you've got to do 3 every day.
Okay.
That are not habits. They're not things you're already doing. They're not things that you need to do. So it's not necessarily a meeting that you've got a weekly rhythm. All right, cool. I'm going to meet with this person. You've got to be deliberate about this. You've got to keep yourself honest. So maybe it is, hey, a critical task. I've got to set up that meeting.
Okay.
I've got to progress that project. I've got to, I want to build this habit.
Daily, eh?
Yeah, you've got to do 3 every day. So there's some good writing on, it's about making progress towards your goals.
I see. I
Basically.
see. Just taking
So
action.
yes, it could be like, I'm reading off the website. It says it could be extra work task, an extra work task, a healthy habit, continued education, or anything that will help you progress. So call two customers to check in on their progress, or like how they're doing.
I see.
It's got to be something that
Out of the ordinary.
that you're not already doing.
I see.
Yeah. So you may be a great networker, and so making sure that you meet 2 new people or ask for 2 new referrals, I would say is probably not a good critical task for you because you're doing it anyway.
I see.
But if you're not a great networker and you go, fuck, dude, that's something that I want to be better at is networking. So I'm going to make sure that every day I phone up a potential partner of mine. That I'm a lawyer and I know that accountants work with my ideal customers, but they don't compete with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to phone up a new accountant every day, introduce myself and say, hey, can we do business together? Can you throw me some referrals? I'll throw you. Like that's a critical task because that's something that you are looking to develop as a habit. It's not something you ordinarily do. And you do that for 30 days, all of a sudden your business could be double in size.
Yeah, that's crazy. After over 30 days, would you maybe like look at a week ahead and then try and write as many different things as you could? Because for me, I'd be a little bit nervous to then
Get
kind of wing it.
Get
like
to a day and
I'm
yeah,
like, what am I
yeah.
going to do today? Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if you recall what I said to you in the original episode was preparation and
Yes.
planning.
That was the biggest thing as well. Was hard 75.
100%. So for me, yes, I would do that. And actually, when you start to get to the final phase 2 of the Live Hard Year, it's a similar thing because there's stuff you have to do there as well.
Okay.
I 100% would plan it out.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to be too deliberate about planning because also becoming too robotic about stuff can also be not great. Yeah. But you don't want to start waking up in the morning. You've learned this at 75. You don't want to start waking up in the morning and go, all right, cool. What exercise should I do? Because you're burning minutes and time.
Exactly.
That you could be doing the exercise. So 100%, I would say, what are the critical tasks that I want to do? Write them down.
Yeah, that's something.
Maybe you can be flexible about what you do on each day, but make sure you get to those 3 critical tasks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it could be doing an online course or like whatever's progressing you towards your goals.
Saying, like something that I probably wouldn't have done, but like you say, it's progressing me towards whatever it is that I'm looking 100%. To achieve or do.
100%.
Yeah, that's very cool though, because I can imagine over a 30-day period, if you've done 3 a day for 30 days, that's quite. I'm sure you would have been, you would have gone somewhere in the right direction.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. And that's it. It's about moving yourself towards those goals. The third and final thing you need, and now remember, all of these are added to the 5 extras, but those 5 extras have become such second nature. Yeah. We're so, and look, whenever you start, you're probably going to have done maybe a month off 75 by the time you get to it. Yeah. You're going to remember what it feels like and how good it feels. So you're adding all of these 3 things onto those things. So it's 5-minute cold shower, 3 critical tasks every day. The last thing you need to do is 10 minutes of dedicated visualization.
Okay.
So, and this is quite interesting. It's quite funny because as I was preparing for this, I had to read up just to refresh, and I wanted to make sure I'm giving you the right information because it's a while since I did this.
Okay. And
make sure you're getting the right information here. But what was quite interesting to me was a reminder for me was that it's visualization here, not meditation.
Okay.
There's a difference. There's a subtle difference between the two.
Okay.
Andy talks about it on the website a little bit, but the subtle difference between the two is you're not just getting guided through a meditation of like breathing and all that. Visualization is really deliberately visualizing your future and where you want to
putting myself in the situation, or like mentally at least.
100%. And I think that the other thing about the visualization is that it's visualizing your future self, your goals, your achievements, and visualizing success in that direction. Meditation, and I'm not saying that's not what meditation does. Some meditations are about visualizing your goals. So do a meditation that visualizes your goals. But I think what's super important, and he makes it quite deliberate on the website, is live out your biggest dreams and your biggest achievements and your biggest goals. Don't just put on a meditation that says, all right, we're going to visualize you on a beach and you're chilling, and like it's not about de-stress.
It's going to be really personal, I guess.
100%.
Yeah.
With that in mind, and that's why I'm glad that I reread this up because it allows me to like really give you that help. There's a phenomenal thing called the reticular activating system. I learned about this through a girl called Mel Robbins. people.
I think I heard it on Andrew Huberman, but I do
Yes,
know Mel
yeah,
Robbins as
yeah.
well.
It's a very well
The
known
reticular
activated.
angular cortex, or what is it?
Yeah,
Something like that.
it works in the brain, and
Yes,
that's what I. So what I'll do, I'll put this in the cliff notes as well down below. But I'll send you. It's a 10-minute video by Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
It's probably, if I can think back over the last 5 years, this is the original. This is the genesis video for me in mindset and understanding the power of our brain. I happened upon the video during COVID, during the lockdown.
Yeah.
Came across this video, and it's the most beautiful video. So I'll share it and I'll put it because it's really done. It's produced beautifully. They've got nice visuals and all that. But really, all it is just Mel Robbins, who's an exceptionally smart woman. Like, she's crazy smart.
I love her content. Yeah,
do you? I don't know much of her stuff beyond. Yeah, but this video changed my life. Well, this she's talking in front of people. She's obviously giving a lecture of some kind, and she just basically explains. She goes, "I'm going to share something with you that's going to feel like freaky magician magic stuff, but it's 100% backed by science." And that she says everything I do is backed by science, and it is. She discusses the reticular activating system. She basically just explains visualization. She says, when we visualize ourselves and our goals and our seeing, we visualize yourself giving that keynote lecture. You visualize yourself walking into your boss's office and asking for that raise. You spend 10 minutes a day visualizing it. We are actively changing the way our brain works. That's why the difference between visualization and meditation, I like to make that distinction. So it's not 10 minutes of meditation, just meditate. It's 10 minutes of visualizing.
I know a lot of professional sportsmen do that as well. I've heard it a lot.
It's a great call.
Yeah,
you dig your sport, so you would immediately put it into that framework.
100%. But I've heard, like in cricket, for example, I know like opening batsmen. I don't know how much you know cricket, but say you're playing a team tomorrow, they literally spend the evening just visualizing that bowler that's going to come bowl. Where's he going to bowl? What are you going to do? And I think it definitely translates into real life, because I think in real life, when you face that, you've kind of done it 1,000 times before in your head.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, that's exactly what she's getting at, and I guess what they get at with that sort of mentality of doing it over and over and over. You preparing yourself, and like when I discovered this from Mel, I started to do it on the soccer pitch. Like when Wolf, by the way, Wolf and I play soccer together. Well, I try to play soccer. Wolfie plays proper soccer with Migs, who I give a hard time to. But I would often be like halftime, we'd break for halftime, and I always go home and drink, and I'd start going, fuck, dude, you're down 2 goals here. I know it's not all in your control, but you made a few fuck ups here and there. Like you can bring this back. Visualize yourself making that save. Visualize yourself slotting that goal in.
And you did. I'm sure
I did it. And there were definitely, without a doubt, there were definitely games where I walked away and went, fuck, dude. Well done, bro. We nailed it. So I think, and that's why I like the idea of like repetition, and you can't forget a day. You have to do it every day, is because you training yourself to be disciplined about it, so that when you finish the 30 days, you still can continue to do it, and that's super important. So those are the 3 extra tasks, bro. That's what you're in for.
It doesn't sound impossible. I think it does sound it is quite challenging on top of the 5 things you already have to do, but it doesn't sound like something that is impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Yeah.
It's definitely not impossible, and it's I think the only thing I would say to end off, and like we have gone like over what I said we should do, like 20 minutes, but it's been a good conversation, and I'm fucking loving being on this journey with you, bro, because you've, as I said to you, you've killed it. You've absolutely nailed it, and I love the fact that you've been so dedicated to it. But as you go into phase 1 and you kind of halfway through phase 1, I think you're the kind of guy who's going to start looking at like, okay, cool, what's next, and like, do live hard, because, and I'm not saying you need to do it, and it is tough to do live hard, but it's a real ask. But just even if it's just phase 1 that you focused on, you're going to take a lot
step by step.
Yeah,
I don't think, obviously I enjoy the challenge of it all, but I won't look too far to say like a whole year, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's now, you know what I mean? Maybe I do phase 1 and I derive a lot of benefit from it, and then I just keep going. So but it's definitely something to give it a try, you know what I mean? Especially while it's still summer, while it's still spring and summer.
Well, that's the other thing, is it's a lack of time of year for you to do it. If you do phase 1 now, 30 days, 19th of December, you'll finish off. Or sorry, if you start today.
If I started
you
today,
start in a week. Like let's say you start the end of, let's say you start 24 November, you'll end 24 December just before Christmas.
I see.
So you're in time for that holiday festive period, take some time off, go a bit wild, and like go boss.
Yeah.
But like this is the kind of planning as well that you can start doing as well.
Yeah. I need to look at the calendar and see like
Yeah.
prime time to
Yeah.
like do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it, bro.
Yeah, really. It sounds interesting, Steve. Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
To think that you've done freaking 365. You've done the full live out year. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's quite incredible
Yeah.
and something to be very, very proud
Yeah.
of. But yeah, like I said, the mental aspect for me, like we can talk about the cold water and how it feels maybe superficially, but I think my biggest benefit from 75 was just knowing that I can do it. You know, like, you know, there was a period where you just realize that there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
If you really want to like try something, and it really made me think like, dude, what else could I try? And what like if I'm doing this, surely I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's unbelievable, bro.
Like
And I think that's the whole
yeah.
point of it.
Yeah.
Because you start applying it to other parts of your life. What,
Yeah,
what
and
else
you
am
think,
I?
why not? And you think to yourself, why not? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can do that. I
Yeah.
didn't want to do it, and I did it, and I feel
Yeah.
great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it really makes you wonder. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fucking keep wondering, bro. Like, let's see
Yeah.
where it goes. Because, as I say, I think you'll take a lot away from it.
Cheers, but thank you, Steve. Yeah,
For sure, my brother. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. As always, homework for this episode is I'm going to be selfish and just say share this episode.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. From Wolfie's mouth, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Look, I think also is this. I love this episode because I'm going to shoot this episode into the Facebook group and see if anyone's interested. Because shoot this into our WhatsApp group because I know there's guys there. Ryan's already gone into phase 1. Yeah. Andrew, I think
Ryan's
is
in phase 1.
I think he is. He's doing 75 with his wife or something. But yeah, man. Share the episode. Share with people. Share the podcast, man. I think we're talking about interesting things, and so stoked. It's brought me closer to human beings who I really get along with, like Wolfie. So, thank you, my dude.
Thank you so much, Steve. Let's do it.